Hello, I'm David DiCerto, Interim Executive Director of the Sheen Center. I recently had an opportunity to sit down and talk with Lee Isaac Chung, the writer-director of the Golden Globe-winning film Minari. I hope you enjoy it.
Jacob is an incredibly fascinating character. He's a man wrestling with God.
Growing up in Arkansas, you don't really see too many films about the South.
친구가 없어서 외롭지. 교회를 갈까 해서.
A lot of times you see caricatures.
If you're here with us for the first time, please stand.
But you don't really see human stories that are set there.
What a beautiful family. We're glad you're here.
That was a dream for me, where I can get in there early and write music that feels spiritually connected to the film.
What are you doing? It's Sunday. This is my church.
It is really cool to be part of something that carves out a larger understanding of what America is and can be. I'm very proud of that.
생각했던 한국의 나의 할머니 아니면 엄마, 시대적으로 굉장히 어쩔 수 없이 희생해야 되는 그런 부분들.
기도하는 거 잊지 마.
This is a family that moved to America and struggled like a lot of American families did.
엄마가 기도하면 꿈에서 하늘나라를 볼 수 있대요.
People think if we don't understand their culture or the language, people think we are all different, but we are all same.
내가 책임질게. 난 다 잃는 한이 있어도 여기서 내가 시작한 걸 끝내야겠어.
Minari shows strength of a family and what really makes a home.
Well, I'm delighted to be here with Lee Isaac Chung, director of the award-winning film Minari. Isaac, thank you so much for joining us, and congratulations on the accolades. I mean, this film, which I absolutely love, won the Grand Jury Prize at Sundance last year, and it recently just took home the Golden Globe. So congratulations on that.
Yeah, thank you so much, David. Thanks for having me.
Oh, well, let's start. You know, this film is a deeply personal one for you. It's obviously based on some autobiographical elements that you culled from childhood memories of growing up Korean American in rural Arkansas. And you said that in conceiving this film, you asked yourself a question, that if you could leave your young daughter one story, what would it be? You chose this one. Why?
This was probably as personal as I could get. And I felt like this story encapsulated a lot that I was feeling and thinking. It shows kind of where our family comes from. But more important than that, I felt like I wanted this story to be almost a testament to what I feel for her and what I feel for her mom, my wife. The story you see unfolding with Jacob, the father, is really, I feel in many ways, my story of wanting to express like what it is I feel lasts in this life. And it's really, it ends with that image of him and the boy at that Minari Creek. And to me, that's, I see my daughter in many ways in that shot.
Oh, it's a beautiful ending image to a beautiful film. The whole film is beautiful.
Thank you.
You know, the film tells a very specific story of this one Korean American family that's trying to start this new life on this farm in Arkansas. But in the way that you tell it, the themes that you explore and the emotional resonances that you get watching it are so universal. It's not really, or it's not simply an ode to your family experience. It almost comes across as a love letter of sorts to all families. And, despite their flaws and the messiness that happens throughout the film, it really so beautifully shows, that the beauty of an intact intergenerational family. Can you talk a little bit about the importance of that theme of family?
Yeah, thank you for that. Family is the fundamental, foundational element of this film, really, and something that I was wrestling and thinking about a lot when it came to my own life and what I felt was the most important thing for me, and the things that I want to last ultimately. So I felt like I can't tell this story if I'm not including that multi-generational perspective. And I love the ways in which these actors interact with each other. I've often said it's a love story between husband and wife, and then also grandmother and grandchildren. And it's a story of both of their relationships ultimately reaching a point where everybody's together. And there's wisdom on every character. The young children have a certain wisdom to them, and so does Sunja, the grandmother. I just felt like every perspective is adding something to this story of a family.
Yeah, there's so many films today almost lead with sort of like the children know best. And while you certainly show the wisdom of the innocence of the character of David and his sister, there's such a reverence also for the wisdom of the grandmother and the parents. And you just do it so beautifully. So thank you.
Oh, thank you so much.
Watching the film, I couldn't help but thinking about Flannery O'Connor. And I was so surprised that when I read your press notes, you had mentioned Flannery O'Connor as an influence in your sort of creative process. And, you know, I'm such a fan of Flannery O'Connor, and I think about her. She always referred to her home of Georgia, and really the whole South, as being Christ haunted. So watching this film, you could say it's definitely, to use Flannery's phrase, a Christ haunted film as well. There's so much Christian imagery and symbolism from the early references to him wanting to plant a Garden of Eden, to the recurring image of Paul carrying that cross up the dusty road, to what I think is just such a beautiful recurring image of the theme of water, which obviously has a rich Christian symbolism to it. That scene where the wife is giving that very tender bath to her husband almost seems like a baptismal scene of sorts. And can you talk to why those very explicit and implicit faith references were so important in your telling of this story?
It's the sort of thing I think about a lot in my own life. So I think that's why it creeps into the work. It's just so personal to me. And I wasn't trying to preach a message or anything with it. I just wanted to kind of get into the weeds of it myself. I mean, if you look at the film on a theological level, there's a lot that I'm trying to work out personally on a personal level with it. And Flannery O'Connor, I always felt like she shows us how grace can arrive in a very surprising way, in a very mundane way, almost in a grotesque way sometimes. You know, it comes in a very profane way. And there was a thought that I had as I was writing this script about if Christ were to come, would we recognize him? Us Christians in this country, people who profess to be Christians. And that's one of the thoughts that was recurring to me as I was writing the Sunja character, the grandmother character. She's someone who's obviously profaning Christianity, and she's profaning all these different elements of, I don't know, tradition and all these various things. But ultimately, she's kind of the one who delivers the most grace in this film and helps this family to stay together. So that was just something very personal that I was trying to work out myself, because it's not as though that's a theological thought that comes from nowhere for me, but I just find that I am able to see God or see Christ through people, people who have mattered to me. And often they are the people who are the most vulgar, the people who you would not consider to be Christians. They are the ones who reveal to me the most goodness and grace that helped me to believe that there's something good in this world. So those were just thoughts that I was having as I was writing this story, and particularly with my grandmother. That's just who she was, and who constantly reminds me of what I want to be and what I want to pass on.
Wow. Well, I mean, there's so many, you know, I think the phrase that O'Connor used was the imperceptible presence of grace, and that's woven throughout the entire film. You know, the grandmother is definitely an O'Connor-esque type of character, and I say that in the best sense of the terms. I'd love to have a car ride with her and the grandmother from A Good Man Is Hard to Find. They would certainly have a lot to talk about.
They would.
During your Golden Globe acceptance speech, which it was so moving, you holding your young daughter, during that. You said, and I want to get the quote right, that the film is about a family trying to learn how to speak a language of its own, a language of the heart. And I'm trying to learn it myself and pass it on. And I hope we all learn how to speak this language of love to each other, especially this year. We can unpack so many wonderful things in that statement, but, in our increasingly polarized society, what do you hope this film speaks to viewers?
I do hope that I felt it myself, the difficulty of these past couple years that are almost a cap on top of many difficult years before that. Just a desire for something good and positive. And I didn't want to make a film that preaches to people, hey, get along with each other. I feel like that's a bit disingenuous. But instead, I just wanted to make something that speaks to me and feels like something that I need and something that I want my daughter to sense and to look forward to, that she would see this film and feel a certain sense of hope for the future. And I guess if people can find that feeling within this film, I'd be really pleased with that. But at the same time, I don't want it to be a prescriptive film in any way, and I don't want it to be preaching something in any way. I just want it to be a space of hospitality in some sense for people.
Well, I think you accomplished that brilliantly. It's affirms faith and family, but most of all, it affirms hope. And I think that clearly comes across. The characters in Minari, the characters they may be Korean, but the film itself, I think, is a quintessentially American story. And, particularly Jacob's almost elemental obsession with the soil and the land. And I think so many of us, particularly us, we who live in urban areas, we've lost that connection to the land. And I think we've lost a lot more because we've lost that connection to the land. Was that intentional going into the film, to have that theme of that, that connection to nature and the soil?
I definitely feel that way. I mean, it is set in a garden, and there are a lot of snakes in the garden. And then you see this family, they've left one garden in a sense, and now they're on their search for another. And they work the land, and the land is cursed in some sense. It's full of toil. I've felt that to be the case in my own life, in my own journey as a filmmaker, that it can be related very closely to the ways in which we work the land, and the philosophy behind how we can approach the soil and the dirt, and whether we're trying to make it submit to us or whether we actually learn to submit to it and belong to it. I feel like that's sort of the dichotomy of living that I myself am trying to work out and figure out on my own, because I've known the struggle and the toil, but I've also known when things are coming easy and it feels like grace, and things that are coming from a very different place. And hopefully that's what this film might be alluding to. I'm not sure. That's what I'm trying.
That certainly comes across, and the film certainly leads with grace and goodness. And again, thank you for such creating such a beautiful, poignant, hopeful film. And thank you for spending some time with us. I read that as they were reading out the nominees in your category, your daughter was praying for you. Please know that we will certainly keep you and your ministry of filmmaking in our prayers as well, particularly come Oscar time. So again, Isaac, thank you so very much. And again, congratulations.
Thanks so much. I enjoyed this conversation with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. God bless.